support from people on social networks and blogs and things like that before we were playlisted on radio or had a label or anything like that. So it's important for us to keep kind of feeding back into that community, I think. And I guess we don't have time in the working day to favorite every single tweet or anything like that, but I guess it's just about, having your phone on you and trying to dip in and out where you can, just to let people know that you're listening and appreciating it. But yeah, we can't reply to every single direct message, but I think it's still cool for us to be able to have that kind of direct contact rather than having to go through like a PR company or whatever.
And do you think there are challenges to being an indie band? Like, you get more freedom, but then are there more difficulties as well?
This is the worst sound check of all time. It's been going on forever, and that's such a lovely frequency. Like, turn that up to 11.
Being an indie band, or like, it depends what you really mean by that phrase. If you mean a band on an independent label, like, that's something I have a lot of experience in, like we were talking about. Shit is like a lot harder generally. Like, you find that because the labels are struggling for cash, that they ride you way harder. That I've been in situations where you're staying. There's like fucking 6 guys in one hotel room, because there was just no money, and everyone was so committed to the project that they just, like, you make it work however you can, and so certainly in those stuff like that, it's more difficult.
Yeah. Plus, I guess from our point of view, we divided the signings up between different places, so we aren't signed to one label for the world. So we are on major labels in some territories and on indie labels in other territories. So I think it's interesting for us to kind of see how that works, but also we were pretty specific when we were negotiating the contracts to make sure that we can still self-record and self-produce, and just like, stuff that could be really onerous in a contract, we write and record and produce everything. So I guess in my mind, regardless of whether it's released on a major in the UK and an indie in the States or whatever, that is indie as far as it's independent. It's independence from somebody telling you what to do, and it depends what kind of contract you sign. An indie label can totally own your ass, or they can't. So we don't really let the labels just do anything. It's like a collaborative process between the band and the labels, but I think that's why it's good to find a place that you fit quite well, so that people aren't constantly pushing you all the time, because that can be quite exhausting, I think, if you have to be constantly saying, no, we're not going to do that, no, we're not going to do that. So I think we found a pretty good place, I think, where the labels kind of knew what they were getting before they signed us, because we'd done a couple of small releases and had built up the following online and at shows, so we could kind of demonstrate that we already kind of had that shit down, and we just kind of needed somebody who understood like the goal of the band generally, and just kind of help us do that in a more worldwide format.
I mean, but like in any kind of business partnership, you play to your strengths as well, and they play to theirs. We don't tell record labels how to sell records or how to manufacture or how to market, like the nitty gritty of what they do on a day-to-day. But we are as hands-on as you can be with all that stuff.
They kind of do what their job is, and we do what our job is. But then you have to have a kind of dialogue about it and see what's going to be best for everyone.
Right. You don't tell us how to write songs, and we don't tell you how to sell records. It's like,
it works. It's a good deal.
I guess at this point, we're just excited to go back and write again, because we haven't. Other than the couple of things we've done recently, we have been out of the studio for a really long time, so we're going to take December off, and then in January come back in and just start throwing ideas around. And I guess that's probably the only goal at this particular point, is just to write and make a second record that we're happy with, and then hit the goddamn road again.
Hit the goddamn road. I think we're keen to just like see where the music's actually going to take us, because that's kind of what happened the first time around. We didn't have like a plan, like an agenda to try and fit it into a box. It's like we just started writing, and then it kind of led itself in a way. So I think we're kind of really keen to repeat that process again and not put too much on it,